Okay, it looks like we're live, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you on this Thursday evening drive time edition. Today is September 19th, 2024, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to talk to you about what's going on, all right? Let's make sure we have a good transmission. Looks like we're up and running. All right, this is your host, Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834, and on the web at thefullertoninformer.com, 5gdangers.com, wifidangers.com, many other websites, folks. I want to thank you all for tuning in because this show today is going to be very, very important. I wanted to let you all know that I haven't shaved for a week. Not that that matters, but I don't want to hear it, okay? I also haven't had my hair cut for a while, but I don't want to hear that either. I want to talk to you about what matters, folks. And, they're showing their hand now with all the detonation of these devices that you're hearing about. First it was... I guess all those tons of ammonium nitrate on that ship that got offloaded into the port in Lebanon a couple years ago that wiped out the city and broke the back of the country. And then came the currency crisis, and then they ran them out of fuel. And now they're blowing up the communication devices over there for anybody they deem that is a terrorist. And I guess they don't have any regard for whether this guy's driving an airplane, a boat, a car, or in a grocery store shopping. And may I remind you that these people are having their devices detonated and basically ordering the execution of these people without a trial or a jury or any charges or any chance to prove innocent. But I digress, because the purpose of this call today and this broadcast today is not to talk about what Israel is allegedly accused of doing in Lebanon. I want to talk about what they're not talking about, folks, and what they never want to talk about. And why they don't talk about it is pretty obvious, okay? I want to give you just a little bit of history. Back in the fall of 1988, I was an undergraduate student at the University of California, Irvine, finishing up my bachelor's degree in chemistry and my bachelor's degree in biological science. And I had a class. It was called physical chemistry, PChem as it was referred to. Equations that make you go, right? Really theoretical stuff, right? We had a laboratory that was part of this class, and it just so happened that in the physical science building, the laboratory next door to the laboratory I used for my class was occupied by two atmospheric chemists. One of them was named Dr. Sherry Rowland, and the other one was Dr. Molina. These were two atmospheric chemists that a few years after I graduated were given the Nobel Prize in chemistry for their alleged discovery of the chlorofluorocarbon connection to ozone depletion. These two atmospheric chemists in the laboratory right next to my classroom in the physical science building at UCI back in 1988 were working on conjuring up the narrative to change all of the refrigerants in air conditioners, heat pumps, and refrigerators and freezers all over the entire world from inert chlorofluorocarbons and eventually have them completely phased out and replaced by highly flammable gases that are now in the compressors of refrigerators, air conditioners, and even some of the aerosol cans. But the issue I want to talk about today isn't the cell phones blowing up, isn't the pagers blowing up, isn't the laptops blowing up, isn't the solar systems blowing up, but I will talk about it anyway, because it is not difficult from a cell tower to track and triangulate and identify the exact location and to tune in and remote control a wireless device. Cell phones and laptops and Wi-Fi enabled devices are two-way operation systems. They receive and transmit. They can be remote controlled and surged from a cell tower. If they want to blow up your phone, they can. That's why you can't take the batteries out anymore, folks. Because what they've done is they've replaced all the nickel cadmium batteries with lithium ion batteries and lithium polymer batteries, which are literal bombs if they're ignited. Just ask a fireman what they do when a Tesla catches on fire. You know what their answer is? Nothing. They let it burn. But I want to talk to you today about the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Because when you take cyclopentane, which is now what they're using as a refrigerant in most of these air conditioners and these refrigerators, in your home, in your business, in your car, on the bus, in the classrooms, these compressors can reach up to 500 pounds per square inch. And when you have a flammable gas, a highly flammable gas compressed to 500 pounds per square inch, and it's connected to 110 volt current coming out of the wall, and it's Wi-Fi enabled, and it's made in China, and you've got it hooked up to a smart meter that can be remote controlled. So you don't know what they put in the circuit board or any of the programming elements of these appliances in China, because they're not made in the United States. The quality control there is run by the communist Chinese government, which was run by the casting couch of Henry Kissinger for the last 50 years, which is really just another arm of the deniers of Jesus Christ and their operations. And they flooded the deck with all this technology, whether it's an air conditioning system, a heater, a heat pump, a cell phone, a laptop, it's all made in China. And God knows what kind of back doors are in these things. God knows what kind of remote control capability these things have. God knows what kind of detonators have been put in this stuff. But I'll tell you this. That's right, man. You continue to honk for the right reasons at me. I'll tell you this, folks. When you take cyclopentane or one of these flammable refrigerants that are now in these air conditioners and refrigerators and freezers all over the world, they're in every apartment, every house, every business, every school, every church, every hospital, every car, every bus, every plane, train, automobile, folks. And you compress that gas to 500 pounds per square inch, and if you spring a leak, you got yourself a bomb. Now, is it possible that they could detonate these devices? You bet they already have. Look what happened up in Paradise, California. I can tell you right now that a lot of these fires, when the trees don't burn, it's because the houses did burn, because the houses were ignited from within. So we all know that a cell phone can be ignited. And no, folks, they weren't sabotaged. Every one of these wireless devices has the capability to be detonated, okay? That's why they're made in China, and that's why the batteries don't come out. And that's why they want you having wearables. So if they can't track you with the phone, they'll track you with your, what are those things that people wear to triangulate onto their thyroid at 6 gigahertz, right? Or the watches. They can locate you. They can blow it up. They can kill you. Eventually they will. And you know what? Then they're going to blame Russia so they can use our military to attack Russia. I mean, we know who's behind what's going on now, don't we, folks? I think the cat's out of the bag and their cards are on the table and they've showed their hand. But the problem is they're not talking about what really is capable of happening on a wide-scale basis with the technology that we've all been conned into adopting. Now, I'm sorry, but, I'm one of those guys that gets my air conditioner from the Goodwill, and I make sure that, it's R134A or it's a chlorofluorocarbon refrigerant, because I don't like flammable refrigerants inside compressors hooked up to 110 volts coming out of the wall with Wi-Fi connectivity with my neighbor's smart meter. I don't have a smart meter, but what I'm saying is, folks, I don't give them the opportunity to blow up my house. They're going to have to come by with a drone strike. They're not going to be able to just remote control it through the smart meter. I'm not going to give them the target that they want and that they got out of everybody else. And I'm here to warn you that these devices that you think are energy efficient, that are designed for your comfort, are designed for your destruction, folks. There isn't a darn thing, technologically speaking, that they give us or that they have given us that doesn't serve a dual purpose. Everything that they have given us is a weapon. I mean, they have these Wi-Fi systems that broadcast on the frequency of iodine molecules and oxygen molecules that can take your breath away, make you sick, make you pass out, and they can blame a virus and come back and say, you got to get a vaccine, you got to get a health pass, you got to go quarantine, you can't get on a cruise ship, you can't go to school, you can't get a job, you can't do anything unless you have a health pass that says that you've been properly vaccinated for the virus, right? Or the different ones that they're going to come up with. They can remote control the frequency, the modulation, and the power level on these Wi-Fi routers from anywhere in the world, no matter whether it's in a classroom or in an airplane or on a bus or on a boat or in a library or in a hospital or in your bedroom, folks. They have the technology, and you brought it in. And some of you numbskulls, like the people that live on my street, fundraised to bring it into the schools. You're that much of a sycophant and a bootlicker. You even had happy parties at your house touting the wonderful benefits of all this wireless technology. And then you had the audacity and the gall and the stupidity and the immorality and the degeneracy to make fun of me in the process, which all surfaced through a public records request with all your names on it, so I know who you are. The joke's on you, not me, because I was right. And they haven't run that operation yet, but they will. That's why they're fencing all the schools in, so that the children won't be able to get out, so they can bust them off. And have you noticed that all the windows on the school buses now, they're all blacked out? Because why? Well, for two reasons. The children probably aren't going to be able to see where they're going. And the second thing is the parents aren't going to be able to see who's on the bus or what they're trying to do, trying to claw their way out of there or whatever. Folks, I literally was studying and doing lab work right next to the two men in 1988 and 1989 who were the ones responsible for the ozone scam, ladies and gentlemen. There is no ozone hole. Chlorofluorocarbons make about as much of a damper on the ozone levels as my pissing in my pool affects the pH. It's a joke. But because of these schools, because of the curriculum, because of the complicity of the employees and administrators, and because of the insanity and the arrogance of those involved, as well as the cowardice of the parents, and the lack of critical thinking and intelligence of the children as a result of their indoctrination, the human race has been conned into having explosive devices everywhere, all around them, that can be detonated remotely. That's right. Anything that has a lithium-ion battery is a bomb. Don't believe me? Go to the post office and look what you're not supposed to mail unless you have a label on it. Don't believe me? Go to the airport and see what you're not allowed to put in your luggage. Don't believe me? Put one of those batteries in your fireplace, and you better stand back. Don't believe me? See what happens when you do what I just said. They can target your solar system, and yeah, that's right. You clowns that went out and got solar and put your battery wall up, they could blow up your house. That's right. You know what happens when you surge the Tesla Powerwall? You better get the hell out of there. I'll tell you that right now, because that thing can kill you and everybody in your house. That's right. The solar systems with the battery backups are bombs. The laptops. That's right. Everything that is connected to a smart meter with a lithium-ion battery is a bomb. Everything that is connected to a smart meter that has cyclopentane as a refrigerant or another one of these flammable refrigerants in the compressors of the freezers, of the refrigerators, or the air conditioners, or the heat pumps is a bomb. Oh, they're talking about pagers right now. Well, let me tell you something. There's a difference between lighting a firecracker and lighting an M80 or an M100 or lighting off a mortar. And the difference between the battery in the pager blowing up and the compressed flammable refrigerant in the air conditioner at 500 psi blowing up is the difference between a firecracker and a half a stick of dynamite. And so what's really the danger here, folks? Not the pagers. But see, this is what they do. You know, they're showing their hand, but they're only showing their fingernails in the process. They're not showing their bloody knuckles, and they're not showing their greasy, hairy hands. They are showing only their fingernails when they're showing their hand right now, folks. Because the entire system of air conditioning and refrigeration has been weaponized through the propaganda that was promoted by the two scientists that happened to have a laboratory right next to mine when I was in college. That's right. Sherry Rowland and Molina. Those were the names. Nobel Prize in Chemistry. I think it came in 2005 for those atmospheric chemists who postulated and theorized the mechanism by which chlorofluorocarbons deplete atmospheric ozone. Ozone is O3 and is formed in the upper atmosphere by the conversion of diatomic oxygen in the presence of ultraviolet light into a transient oxygen species known as ozone. Now, you can create this yourself with a black light. I have an ozonator for my pool. There's a series of compact fluorescent bulbs inside a metal housing that generates O3, and then it's bubbled into the pool through the pump. You see these blue lights over the doors in hospitals and other places as disinfecting atmospheric treatment systems. It's also used in water purification. Ozone is really easy to make. And as a matter of fact, the Earth is constantly making it. Think about how much sunlight there is way up there and how much oxygen is up there, and how frequently those oxygen molecules come in contact with ultraviolet light to convert into ozone. It's a never-ending, endless supply of ozone in the upper atmosphere. There's no holes. The sun isn't any stronger than it was 40 years ago or 50 years ago when I was growing up. You still get the same sunburn the same time of the year, at the same time of the day. The sun is no stronger than it ever was. It's the same, folks, trust me, because I'm out at it all the time. The ozone scam is a complete lie, just like global warming is a complete lie. These are social re-engineering scams. But the ozone scam is a big one because what it did is it provided the impetus for the removal of safe and efficient refrigerants to be replaced by highly dangerous, explosive gases to be utilized in every single air conditioner, every single refrigerator, every single heat pump, every single system that is a potential bomb that can go off with the nefarious ones with their nefarious intent, try to run their next false flag, whatever it may be, to get us to do what they want us to do out of fear and dismay through their criminal elements of persuasion. That's right. You know, they'll say that this or that or the other happened. You know, they've got these technologies, folks. They can take your breath away with Wi-Fi and blame a virus. They can remote control the explosion of your refrigerator and blame it on a terrorist attack. I mean, they can do whatever they want. And if you're going to continue to believe these lies, I've been saying for years that everything they give us is a weapon. I mean, I'll be honest with you, folks. If they really had our best interest in mind, they would let us drill into the primary water like Gaddafi did and give us all a homestead anywhere all over the world and to tap the endless, unlimited supply of fresh water. And they would have advanced the incredible potential of carburation and fuel atomization and fuel developments with these different catalytic converters and exhaust gas recirculation systems that can make a pretty much zero emission car running on gasoline, but they abandoned that technology, reformulating the fuel to make it burn much hotter under higher compression, and doing away with carburation that would have given us the ability to have tremendous fuel efficiency with the internal combustion engine, with petroleum products, which, by the way, are renewable resources because the Earth continuously, abiotically produces petroleum and oil. Oil is produced naturally by the Earth. It ain't a bunch of dead dinosaurs that took a deep dive 30,000 feet to the floor of the ocean and then dug another 15,000 feet below the bottom of the ocean to go curl up in a ball and drop dead in some religious ritual to turn into oil. That's a bunch of nonsense. But you know what? Look, I get it. You know? Y'all went to school because you had to. And y'all had to learn that stuff because they made you. I had to go to school. My parents made me go to school. They thought they were doing the right thing. They were well-intentioned, but they were just misinformed. They were ignorant. My mother and father were wonderful people. They're very simple people. They were very simple. They did not have any ill will. They wanted what was the best for us. My mother and father, they just loved us and they loved others, and they'd give them the shirt off their back. My mom was always helping others out. My dad was always helping people out. You know, they're good people, but they didn't know any better. And so, you know, I'm the second generation of these folks, and I figured it out through the wisdom of the Holy Spirit and the power of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which has allowed me to have a renewed mind, okay? And I can throw off all the conditioning and lies that I was fed. Am I making sense? Look at this. By the way, that's the legacy of Sharon Quirk Silva, declining graffiti, poverty, and wide open borders, and just crime. That's the legacy of the leadership. I won't even get into that, but every time here's the other guy, Newman. look at this. Nice going, guys. Congratulations on what you've done to the state in your stint in the legislature up in Sacramento. But I don't need to even give those clowns publicity because, as long as they vote for giving away free stuff, they get reelected. That's the con, that's the plan, and everybody's a moron because all they care about is what's free and cheap. But let me tell you something. Have you ever noticed that the government's involved in getting you energy efficient appliances if you qualify for this free stuff? Everybody wants to get all this free stuff, right? Free refrigerator, free, air conditioner. Yeah, guess what? It's a bomb, folks. It's a bomb. You don't believe me? I'll tell you what. Next time you go to one of these big box retailers where they sell refrigerators, do me a favor. Turn the thing around and look at the back and look at the big explosion warning on the thing. Hey, man, don't get mad at me. I don't got that stuff in my house. I got these old Westinghouse and General Electric ones that you stupid idiot neighbors threw in the trash. I went and grabbed them before the recycling truck came and got them, and I plugged them in. That's right. I'm not going to blow up my house with this crap. I'm not going to make myself a target, and I don't think any of you should either. And I think what you all need to realize is that it's not your fault. But to continue to remain in ignorance of this information after being exposed to what I've just exposed to you now makes it your fault unless you decide to do something about it. For about, 15 years, I've been going really hard on exposing stuff, spending, I must have probably, between running for office and my activism, running websites and equipment, I've probably spent upwards of $100,000 of my own money just trying to warn people about what's being done to them. And I don't even have a donate button anywhere. I don't have a donate button on my website. And it's a beautiful thing knowing that you gave it all away for free. Because I'll be honest with you, I've got one of the cleanest consciences around, and I've probably been blessed beyond belief with what God has bestowed on me in terms of a wife and a family and just health and just happiness. And I'm here to tell you, folks, that we got a lot of work to do, and it's not up to me to do all the work, okay? I want you to understand that we are in a literal open-air prison, and anything they give you has got another purpose besides what they're telling you about, okay? You need to be careful. Now, if you have some of these flammable refrigeration devices, try to get rid of them, try to get some old ones. Try to unplug them when you're not using them in terms of your air conditioner. Don't leave the thing plugged in. You don't know when they're going to hit a city, okay? You don't know when they're going to do... come on. No one's talking about these... When is the last time you heard somebody tell you about these flammable refrigerators, okay? Or these flammable air conditioners? No one's talking about it. When was the last time anyone talked about Y-gig and 60 gigahertz and the Wi-Fi routers broadcasting on the frequency of oxygen molecules in the schools and that could take your breath away? I've talked about that. The videos keep coming down. But, the 5gdangerous.com website's got it on there. Look, folks, I cover everything I do runs the gamut. I don't just play games, man. They've got Wi-Fi on the refrigerators, and they got Wi-Fi on the air conditioners, and they got Wi-Fi on the heat pumps, okay? And they got compressors on those things that run up to 500-600 pounds per square inch with the hooked up, to 110 volts, and that 10-volt system is connected to a smart meter. And they're telling how they're blowing up the pagers. Folks, let me tell you something. When they decide to blow up the air conditioners and the refrigerators, you're going to see whole families get killed. Okay? Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to get real close, up close and personal with you. Okay? You need to listen to me. Listen to me good. Get right with Jesus Christ and open your eyes. And wake up to what's been done to you and throw off the chains of bondage through the power of the resurrection of Jesus Christ to break you free from the slavery to sin and the fear of death that has kept you in bondage your entire life, to be a coward, to not face anything. Because the fear of death is the weapon that they use. And that is why all the communist regimes ban all kinds of any type of discussion of God, because they want you to be afraid to die so you can be a good slave so they can have their way with you. Okay? That's the mantra. That's why they teach evolution in the schools, to make you afraid to die so you be a good slave, and everything in the schools a bunch of lies. I'm not kidding, folks. These schools are weapons. And they are destroying the minds. Your mind is the target of the schools. Your children's minds are the target of these schools. These schools are destroying your children's minds because it's teaching them lies and overloading them with absolute trash. And just when you, okay, I'll tell you what. You do me 3 favors, okay? Number 1 favor, you go to Home Depot or whatever and look at the refrigerators. Go to Costco. Look at the refrigerators. Look at the back of them. You'll see the explosive warning on them. Number 2, I want you to go and I want you to look at all the school websites, especially the high school websites in your city. And the first thing that you'll see stand out at you is mental health in the top right corner. Why? Because it's cracking all the kids. The third thing I want you all to go look up is 5gdangers.com. And I'm going to rest my case right there in the name of Jesus Christ with the truth. In the glory of his presence, in the power of his holy name, and in the memory of those who have come before us that fought the good fight of faith, as we lay hold on eternal life, as we look ahead in the days ahead where we have no choice but to be victorious and fight. In Jesus' name, folks, and don't say amen. All right. This is Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer. P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com. I really appreciate all you guys. Do me a favor. Just tell the truth to everybody and get the word out, please. That's the only thing I ask that you do. We don't stand a chance if we're all a bunch of idiots. And that's what they want us to be. And they treat us like a bunch of animals. And they make us think that we're related to animals so that we'll act like animals and so that we'll have to be caged up and killed like animals, folks. No, thank you. See you later. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Have a blessed evening.